Hey, it's Lisa. Obviously, I thought this was the perfect place to come on and share a little bit about my going gray story. I went gray a little bit over a year ago, and some of you have been following me ever since. I love having you guys along with me. It's seriously given me so much strength, so much drive, so much courage along the way just to hear your cheering me along and your kindness and everybody's just encouragement. It really means a lot to me. So thank you guys. This video goes out to you. I have a little bit of footage of me before I stopped dyeing my hair, and then I'll take you through the next year or so, and then I'll pop up on again and tell you a little bit more about kind of what this past year has been like. So without further ado, I dyed my hair maybe 3 weeks ago, so now we're at the 3 to 4 week mark, and right now is when I would dye my hair again, so I'm calling this day number 1. I wanted to show you what my roots look like. Here we go. This middle of my head is definitely where the most amount of gray comes in. I am 49 turning 50 and I'm already gray. It's not going to be like gray will just be my color, or like platinum will just be my color. And then the other one is like, I've never had a short haircut like that before, so I'm just like, I mean, I'll just go back. Plus, I'm like, I only have short hair once in my life, like just do. Okay, for anybody who's going gray or considering going gray, what is the deal with the gray hairs? Like, all of a sudden, they just stand at attention, like they're at boot camp. Like, what is that? So it's been a little bit over a year now. I would say it's, depending on when you start counting, it's either 13, 14, 15 months, something like that. And I would say for sure the hardest part is the first 3 months. Like, I've heard people say like, oh, I tried to, but then I gave up, after 3 months or something, because that's the worst part. It's like, when you're pregnant, but you just don't look pregnant yet and you just feel fat. Like, that's pretty much how you feel about your hair. You're like, you walk around and you're just like, I wish I could wear a t-shirt that says, hello, I'm going gray, like I didn't miss my hair appointment. Because that's how you just feel. You're like, I just missed my hair appointment for the rest of my life. Like, that's what I'm gonna look like. But once you pass 3 months and your grow out starts to get a little bit longer, you can like pin it back, you can do different things with it. You can wear hats, you can wear scarves. When I started going gray, it was right before the summer, so I kind of just wore a lot of summer hats and a lot of summer scarves. And sometimes I just went plain too, because I'm like, it's too hot for that. But once you pass that that humongous benchmark of 3 months, it does get a little bit easier after that. So if you are right there at that mark, stick to it, girl. You are so close. The other thing I wanted to mention too, even though my husband was really, really, really supportive, I didn't really feel like a ton of outgoing support from like my mom, or, I mean, love you, mom, but like, I was like, I think I'm gonna go gray, and she was like, But she's soft-spoken anyway. She never really has a ton to say about too much, so it was kind of like in character for her, but at the same time, I just wanted my family to be like, yeah, do it, and I didn't get that. And by the way, I'm definitely words of affirmation in love languages, so you can see that need like clear as day. So I kind of like wish that I had a little bit more of that. And then even recently, like, we went out to dinner with a bunch of people in my family, and one of my relatives was like, when you first said you were gonna go gray, I was like, ooh, don't do that, but now you look fantastic. And I'm like, well, thanks, but like, even now I don't need it as much as I needed it in the beginning. So if you feel like you don't have that group supporting you or that family supporting you, just kind of dive deep and look inside yourself and think to yourself, is this what I really want? And if you really want it, girl, do it. And if you don't really want it now, give yourself some time and give yourself some grace, because there's a time for everything and there is a space for everything. And if now is not your time, that's okay too. Going gray is not the answer to aging beautifully. There are people who age beautifully who dye their hair for the rest of their life, and like, to each their own. Like, bless their journey, bless my journey. So from what I've heard, it seems like I probably have maybe 1 year left to go if I want my hair to be this length. But I'm aiming for December. Like if December comes and I still have like this much left, like I'm cutting it off. Like 2018 is where it's at. This is the last you will see brown hair on my head. Although, I mean, you can still see some brown streaks or whatever. I mean, that's the other cool thing too. Like I had no idea when I started growing out my hair that I had like highlights essentially. Like I have like whites, it's more white over here, and like under here isn't that white. I mean, I got to know my hair like all over again. That was just so interesting to be a 40-year-old woman and think like, I'm getting to know my body in a way that I never knew it before. And how did I not know that about myself? Like, that was so weird. And like, we're all worried what people are gonna think about us. I mean, that's just human nature. So you like walk down the street and you think, oh, this person's looking at my gray hair. Oh, they're looking at my roots. Like that's literally the story that I used to live with. Now that I'm just like out in the open, like this is me. People, I like walk down the street, I'm like, if people look at my hair, I'm just like, what? But then they're just like, no, your hair's really cool. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I mean, not that I confront people when they ask me about my hair, but I'm saying like most of the comments that I get are like, oh, did you dye your hair like that? Oh, your hair's really cool. Hey, your hair looks good. And I'm talking about like anybody from like old ladies, young ladies, teenagers, like everybody is just like, hey, did you dye your hair like that? I'm like, no, this is my natural. Like, I love it. I'm like, thanks. So like all of that to say is that like we add a lot of personal like conflict and turmoil going on in our heads and our hearts about things that may not even exist in the real world. Like who knows, maybe 10 years ago when I was walking down the street with my roots showing, people are walking by, they're not looking at my roots, but like I gave myself that burden, and now like that burden has been removed and it just feels so much like lighter. Like your story that lives in your head and what you tell yourself is your truth, whether it's positive or negative or somewhere in between. So it's like 10 years ago when I was telling myself that negative story all day, every day, that was my truth. Now that I'm telling myself this positive story, in part thanks to all of you who encouraged me along the way, that is now my truth, and I feel so beautiful. And I feel so like bold and brave. Woo! So thanks to you guys for helping me tell my beauty truth instead of listening to all my beauty lies. So I've wrote about my journey on my blog maybe every 3 months since inception. So if you want to hear more about what I think or what my journey looked like, feel free to search Going Gray on Miss Organic Girl